Welcome everybody to another meeting of Dental Managers Society, and we also welcome any other healthcare practice manager that can benefit from all the wisdom that we have in the room. My name is Pam Snell, and I'm from Axmont IT, and we're the hosts of this. And we welcome Dr. Lisa Kane, who is going to be doing Q&A for us today. So, Lisa. Yeah. So yesterday they said that we don't have to wear, well, the federal government said that it's not Massachusetts yet.
Yeah.
But what do you see as the changes in the dental practice when Governor Baker decides that this is okay?
Well, there's where the bummer lies for the dental practices. Nothing. I think for your practice in your office, Pam, I think that, you guys can be more liberated and, relaxed, I think, for personal people in their own personal lives. But there's no PPE changes for the dental office. I mean, it's still, if you read the guidelines, it still says, emergency treatment only. Wear N95s if you have, if you're in an aerosol procedure. It still says it. It hasn't changed. And they're just so slow to change it. I don't know when they're going to change it.
How about for social distancing? Will practices be able to go back to their regular type schedule that they had before COVID? Will they do that?
So the thing is, you can't differentiate between vaccinated people and unvaccinated people. So you're not supposed to point out and make people feel bad because they haven't been vaccinated. I mean, most of the offices, I don't know what your office is like, Joanna, but most of them have most people vaccinated, not everyone. Is that?
Yep. We have 3, I think, out of the 17 that didn't do it.
Yeah. So that's what.
What's that?
By choice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I
try hard not to.
That's very, very common. I think every once in a while I'll get one office here and there that everyone's vaccinated, but that's I can't even think of one. I think there's one, but the other person's pregnant, so she didn't get vaccinated. But everyone else has the same story that you have. So, there's going to be different things. I think the vaccinated people are fine now with having lunch with other people. I think the concern is for the unvaccinated people, you can only be in a room without a mask with one unvaccinated person or multiple from one household. So only one household. So I think that if you get multiple unvaccinated people, you can't have lunch. You have to continue to social distance. I think you have to err to the side of, I'm always saying for, safety wise to go to the least common denominator, and not to call these people the least common denominator, but the most risk. And I think you have to err towards that. And, if you have unvaccinated people, it's going to be really hard to be okay, so the 3 of you can't come in here.
Right.
You guys have to go sit outside 6 feet apart, and everyone else can go enjoy their lunch together. I think that's going to create a rift in the office.
I think where we're getting into nicer weather, it helps because there was a lot of complaining in the winter, when it was 20 degrees out or even colder.
Right, because I told everyone to eat outside.
Yes, you did, because you were you were like the mom that tells everybody the thing that we wanted to tell them, but they listen to you, not us.
Yeah, that's exactly. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah, so we've been outside. So I think now that the weather's getting nice, we're just going to keep with it, especially because we have those that aren't vaccinated. And it feels like people will be cranky, like you said, and feel discriminated against because they can't stay inside.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be a big thing. And I do believe that this vaccine is going to be required for healthcare workers. I would imagine this time next year, maybe. I'm not sure whenever it's super available and easy to get, then you're going to have the people that religiously are opposed or physically cannot get it because of a medical reason. But otherwise, from my understanding, you can't just say, I don't want the vaccine because I'm afraid of it. You're not going to be, that's not going to fly. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because, they're potentially a public health threat to the patients.
Mhm.
which is why, like, again, you're not changing your PPE because like not everyone is vaccinated. So it's not, so, and it's like, there's a big thing with like the ADA and ethics too. So you don't want to present that because you're vaccinated, your office is safe to everyone, right? So like, you don't want to give the community a false sense of security. So it's not like if everyone is vaccinated in your office, it's not like you're all of a sudden going to start taking off your PPE and be like, I'm just wearing a surgical mask. I'm not wearing the face shield anymore. I'm just doing this. Because then people are going to flock to your office because they hear that your office is all safe. But you can't say that because you're not safe. No one knows if you're safe, you know? So I think it's gonna, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, you know, sort of ethical discrimination kind of things that are going to really slow down the PPE changes in the office.
Can I ask a question about, so we are still screening, we are still screening all of our patients.
Mhm.
And the travel, like we've been still asking the travel question. Now that doesn't apply to vaccinated people. Can we ask the patients if they're vaccinated so that, like, because I saw something last night that said we shouldn't be asking it, but I get that it's a HIPAA thing, but at the same time, we're also a healthcare provider and we're not telling them that they can't come in if they're not vaccinated. We just would not want, like, if they've been to England last week, we don't want them, if you haven't been vaccinated, like, we don't want you coming in. So what's your thought on that, Dr. Kane?
Yeah, and it's Lisa, by the way.
Sorry, I can't let it go.
You have to. Okay, so yeah, I think you shouldn't ask people. I think a lot of officers are saying that people, as they're doing the screening thing, they're volunteering it. So if they volunteer it, that's great. I mean, I think the screening thing, I think is dumb. You know, I would hope that if you don't feel well, you're not coming to the office. I think that asking the travel thing is, I mean, you walk to you go to the supermarket, you're just as much at risk, I think, as going on an airplane. So, you know, you have to still ask all this stuff. I just don't think you're not gonna do anything different if the patient's vaccinated, except for if they've traveled somewhere, you know, having them stay home. So if you ask that, or if you say, you know, I mean, what are you going to say? Like, have you been to a restaurant too?
Right.
You know, I mean, I just think like, as I'm like working this out, like, it doesn't even matter. You know, you hope that they follow guidelines, but they're just, I mean, if they've eaten in the restaurant, I mean, if you look at that chart that the CDC just made yesterday, it shows like all the red things for people that are unvaccinated. It's so scary looking. Like, it shows going to the movies, going to a restaurant, like all these things that are so unsafe for people that have not been vaccinated, that I think that they're just as unsafe as going to Florida. You know, so I think you just continue your full PPE, you continue using your air purifiers and high-speed suction and all that kind of stuff. And you have to still, you know, screen them. As far as staff, though, what I've been saying to people is that I mean, if you can do this without discriminating, you know, I don't know how the staff signs in. Do they sign in a collective list, or do they have their own sort of log that they sign in?
It's a collective list in
Yeah.
our office.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, if you can, without making the other people feel bad, you know, unless you make them feel bad and then they get vaccinated, you know, they don't have to screen the healthcare workers that are vaccinated.
Oh, okay.
Because if it's feasible, that's the way the language is written. So I don't know what feasible means. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I know what feasible means, but I don't know in this situation what it means, because you don't want to make the other people feel bad. So, you know, but they can kind of cut it. You want to make sure, I mean, the big thing is like, it doesn't really matter what your temperature is, it matters how you feel. So if you don't feel well, don't come to work. If you feel sick or anything, I mean, unfortunately, like everyone has allergies now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, everyone kind of feels sick, but I mean, hold on, let me shut that off. Okay. I always forget to shut my phone off. Yeah, so I you know, you still just screen.
So still screen, but go back to like skip the vaccine question and go back to like the basic questions like how are you feeling? You feeling fine?
Yeah,
Have you
and
been
if they-
exposed?
Yeah, and if they ask you, if they say to you, which they will, like if I go in somewhere and I'm like, or if I go up like, to see a dog this morning when a puppy that was outside my house, I'm like, I'm vaccinated. Like, so I think that I think people will say it to sort of make you feel better. And then, you can just say to them, hey, do you feel okay? And then make carrier case noting everything. But then, you're still going to treat them the same. You're not going to like be like, oh guys, guess what? They're vaccinated. So now we don't have to wear gloves.
Right.
Right.
I've always felt that the safest place to be is a dental practice through this
I
whole.
agree with you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Totally. I mean, we were all doing it years and years ago, not just
Yeah.
1 year ago.
Right. And if you look at the data, it shows that like the dental practices are really safe. And it shows that they're also super compliant about wearing masks because they're used to it. Like if you go to like your, primary care or whatever, they're not used to it. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, but I think the learning curve was more for them. I think, we're lucky we were always wearing stuff. I mean, yes, it's a pain in the neck, the face shield versus just regular safety glasses, but like you guys got used to it. You guys really did a good job.
And I think it becomes like very scary because with the symptoms, like you said, the allergies, like you just don't know, right? So like I tested positive back in January.
Oh, wow.
And I went to go test only because I was going in for surgery. And I literally had the same symptoms that I have every January and February, like
Yeah.
a sinus infection, an ear infection. And I was like, what do you mean I'm positive? I'm like, and it's like, and at this point, it's like you have really bad allergies. It's a high pollen content. And it's like you're afraid to like sniffle and you're afraid to do anything because it's like, oh, are you COVID? Like, but I've been vaccinated, but it's kind of hard because, during my full-time position, I'm working remotely, but I also work in a restaurant. So now the guidelines came out yesterday and I'm like, wait a second, you don't have to wear masks. And let's all those thoughts go through your head like, well, who's not wearing a mask? Why aren't they wearing a mask? But I'm vaccinated. How do I know who's not vaccinated? And like, are you able to ask those people who are not wearing a mask, are you vaccinated? You can't ask that, right? So like the only thing you can do, you're vaccinated, but now if you have that fear, now you're wearing your mask because you don't know who is sitting across from you, who you're serving a drink to, who you're serving food to, that is not. So now you're still confined. Even though you did the right thing, you're still confined.
Right. But there's nothing that says that you can't wear a mask.
So and isn't it true, Lisa, that with the like any business can mandate that you have to wear a mask anyway, even if the government says you don't have to?
Yeah, if you're a private company, you can do whatever you want. So, I mean, I would imagine though a restaurant is going to be like really excited about not to have people wear masks because that's going to sort of promote them a little bit more. But you can still wear a mask. You can't ask people if they're vaccinated.
Right.
But, and again, like another thing, Joanna, like with measles, when measles was a couple of years ago, when that was kind of coming out, people were saying that they weren't going to treat kids unless they were vaccinated by measles. So what did? They lied.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing like, and I'm sure that there are counterfeit vaccine cards around there. So like having someone tell you they're vaccinated, or even like having someone take off their mask saying, oh, I'm vaccinated. You don't know if they're vaccinated. So you just have to yourself as a vaccinated person, just hope that you're protected, and just do what you need to do for you. I mean, it's those people that if they're faking it, they're going to get in trouble, health-wise. But I mean, I agree with you. There's all these symptoms out now, you don't know what's what. I started taking Claritin, so I'm feeling much better. But you definitely can't ask at a restaurant or even staff members like who's vaccinated, because again, you can't discriminate.
And what do the guidelines say? Like once you're vaccinated, what is that period? What is the safe zone? Like, because they're saying like when I went for my vaccination, they said, make copies, laminate the copies, keep that in your wallet at all times, but keep the original with your health records in case if ever in the future you're gonna need a booster, don't eliminate that one. So given that they were already saying that when you were vaccinated, I'm thinking that at some point you're gonna need a booster, but what is the safe period from getting your vaccination? Because like, let's say I'm out and about or I'm back in the office and I've been vaccinated. Now I'm not wearing my mask because I think I'm in my safe zone and I've been vaccinated, but now I come in contact with individuals who haven't been vaccinated and maybe they're tested positive and are asymptomatic, right? So what are my chances of becoming I guess positive once
Yeah,
again?
I mean, I think that multiple things. So from my understanding is whenever they started the trials, those people currently are still protected. So those people who have had their vaccine way before you, when they, if and when they become unprotected, we're going to find out an end period to this. So right now, initially they said, I mean, obviously it's 2 weeks after your second dose or 2 weeks after your first for Johnson & Johnson. You know, you have to do that. But when they, originally they said you were good for 3 months, then they pushed it to 6 months. Now they're kind of saying you're good. And I think we're waiting to see how those people react. They also said they don't know about a booster. So I know that there's like the, you know, the companies are making boosters, but it's unclear as to whether you actually are going to need a booster. Like I think some scientists are thinking you might not need a booster. You might be totally fine. Like it might be like measles or chickenpox or whatever that, you know, more like chickenpox, right? Because I guess measles too, I don't know, whatever. But like, it might be something that you're fine. So I think that before us who were later on in the process, I think we'll know that it's not working. And, you know, the hope is, I mean, you can still get it. The hope is, you know, it should prevent you from dying, which is kind of was my goal. You know, and, you know, hopefully you won't, I don't know, you know, hopefully you won't get it, but I do think that we will find out before you have to worry. I don't think all of a sudden yours is going to stop working before we know.
I saw on the news this morning that 5 of the New York Yankees baseball people that got the Johnson & Johnson shot have tested positive now.
Interesting.
One of them had symptoms, and that's why they all got tested. And so 5 of them tested positive. And the guy that wasn't feeling, the rest of them felt fine, totally no symptoms whatsoever. So what they were saying about the Johnson & Johnson one is that one keeps you from getting sick.
Yeah.
So, but I thought that was very interesting, and I was very glad nobody in our office got that one when one person was scheduled to get.
Yeah, during that, yeah.
But then when they had the problem with whatever it was.
Yeah, the blood clots.
Blood clots in women, yeah. They canceled them for a couple of weeks, so he got a Moderna instead. In our office on the 24th, we're having an unmasking because we all have been.
Yeah.
You know, we all have been. It'll be the second vaccination plus 2 weeks. Everybody will be safe.
Yeah.
And we're excited about that we don't have to follow all these strict protocols as much. I mean, we're still going out on calls. We're following, you know, the protocols, the strict protocols. But
yeah, it's liberating. I mean, we have in my office, like we've been unmasked for a while. And it's amazing. I mean, I have like those N95s that I love. I still wear those when I go into offices because I like them and I can breathe better in them. Yeah. Versus like this thing that I'm like suffocating in. So yeah, I mean, I still, when I go to the supermarket anywhere, I'm still heartily masked up just because that's sort of what I'm used to now. But you know, I don't know. It is scary.
Supermarket, you don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Although I heard that Shaw's and Star Market are going to stop having masks in theirs, and they're taking down the one-way signs and all of that.
I'm not gonna lie, I have never paid attention to the one-way signs because by the time I see the sign, I'm already halfway down the wrong way of the aisle.
So you're that person.
I'm that person. I'm not paying attention to the signs because they're usually on the floor. Yeah. And I'm paying attention to like, oh, I need some juice. So I like focus on the juice and then I look, oh, I just went the wrong way.
And I'm the person that like passes through the aisle. I'm like, oh, there's nobody, but I only need one item. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe if I run, wow.
You
Nobody
walk
coming.
backwards, you
Right.
walk backwards and they'll think, oh, she's in the right way. Or
Yeah.
they passed it already. I hate that part. I'm going the right way, but I passed what I
Oh,
wanted.
no, you can't back up.
Yeah, well, I do. Especially, well, we go when there's nobody in there too. We're pretty good about that, but oh my.
That's
goodness.
pretty funny.
I feel like every time I go shopping, I feel like I'm on that show Shopping Cart and I'm like racing through the store because I'm
Yeah.
hoping to get it over with quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you can, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think you can relax a little bit. I mean, especially because, I mean, this is just me hearsay, not scientific knowledge, but especially because you were positive and you were okay. I mean, the people that I have heard that have been positive and then have gotten it again have gotten it less the second time. So I feel like, I mean, this is just me. I don't hold me to this, but I mean, I do feel like I feel like you can relax and like not stress as much about it because I think you're in a really safe position.
As things go on and we're getting more vaccinated and things are becoming safer, we're thinking of having office meetings back for
Yeah.
just in September.
Yeah.
You know, we'll do some other things where I don't know how I'll do the buffet, other than the fact that I know that I'm going to have some kind of a sneeze screen, or that the food we give will be wrapped. You know,
But the thing
individually.
is, Pam, do you need that?
I don't
mean,
know. I'm wondering how people will be comfortable. Will people be comfortable?
right. I mean, I guess it's going to be comfort wise, but like, you might not. I mean, if you can have I mean, you in a private company can say, if you're vaccinated, you can come in person.
Right, and we are going to request that, and we're not going to
Yeah.
look at your cards, but it's going to be for people who have been vaccinated. We hope, because we've all
Right.
been vaccinated, and
Right. And
we want to keep our office staff safe too.
yeah, absolutely. But I do think that you can probably go back to like sort of normal.
Well,
I just got an invitation for a bridal shower and a wedding, right? So
Yeah.
the bridal shower was a couple of weeks ago, and in the invitation laid a card that stated, you need to please show proof if you're vaccinated, if you're not going to be wearing a mask.
Mm.
And if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear your mask the entire time.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know it's going to be interesting how things play out. I know my kids are doing a theater thing this summer. They're putting together a show because they haven't done theater in a while. And, you know, they're hoping that everyone will be vaccinated so they can be inside and sing and do what they need to do versus trying to, you know.
Yeah.
Do
Kids are really suffering.
Huh?
The children are really suffering, you know, not being able to play. And, you know, you look back as when, you know, we were all kids a while ago, but, you know, just the freedom that you had and the playground and horsing around with your neighborhood kids, you know, and I feel like, you know, you look around in your neighborhood and you don't see anyone playing outside. You just see siblings walking together or, you know, and I think they're losing a lot. So it's sad.
I mean, honestly, for my family, I feel like this has definitely obviously not been a good thing, but it hasn't been a bad thing. You know, I feel like my kids have gotten closer. I feel like it was time to kind of everyone to regroup and reset and figure out. And, you know, my daughter was able to do stuff that she wouldn't have been able to do because she was remote this year. And same with my son. So for our family, I mean, luckily, because everyone's been safe so far, I think it hasn't been that bad. I mean,
He's in a different life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with their parents all the time?
Especially if they're cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, my kids are like, they're loving it. They're like, ooh, let's go hang out with mom and dad.
Yeah. I think my daughter's very thankful she lives in North Carolina.
I'm sure she is.
Oh, poor child. I got divorced. I was 5. She was 5, and it was just like me and her. So I'm like, wow, that child could not wait to get away. I'm like, I can't even stand me sometimes. I'm like that. You gotta laugh. I mean, whatever.
Exactly. So what else is going on in the offices that you're going to, Lisa?
I'm getting a lot of screening questions about, whether they can do that again, a lot of PPE changes. I am noticing a lot of like, people are getting in gear and kind of regrouping and making sure that they're following all the guidelines. So I've been going into a lot of offices and doing a lot of walkthroughs and, helping them get their books together, because I think a lot of people kind of were like overwhelmed for the year,
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with themselves, understandably. And now we're trying to regroup because they're now a little bit afraid that now that, things are starting to open up again, that, inspectors will come in, or they're still having, there's still those staff members that are pissed and are, calling them out and, trying to, I don't know, let's not say they're trying to get them in trouble, they're trying to make it better. So I've been doing a lot of that, trying to protect offices, get them, that's what I'm noticing. A lot of people are kind of focusing a little bit more on, the written plans and protocols to try to get that stuff done.
On our Wednesday email blast that I sent out to everybody, I included your QR code. What happens with that?
Oh my gosh. First of all, we are so proud of our QR code because that is our first QR code. I don't even know. It's like I just discovered that you could do email. I feel like so it's a QR code. It gets you to a link to like this report card thing. So you fill out this Google form, and then we set up a Zoom meeting. I show you the report card. It has your grades on it for how your office is doing. And I'm feeling like that's sort of a, I'm constantly trying to think of like how I can help more. So I feel like that's more of a visual way for people to understand. Actually, everyone understands A, B, C, D, F, how your office is doing. And I'm also trying to do, just like virtual coffees. I'm trying to think of a better name for the virtual coffees. I haven't thought of one. You're good with names, Pam. You can like help me. Safety chat. I don't know. But I'm trying to. So it's just like you email me. We make like a copy. We talk about not a sales thing. Just like, hey, tell me what's going on in your office. How what questions you have. Just like this, basically. Like let's talk about whatever you have going on. Do you have one employee that's like refusing to wear a mask? Like, let's figure out how we can help that person wear a mask, or whatever, like I'm just trying, like, I just really want, I feel like a lot of people are overwhelmed and I just want to be helpful and try to, brainstorm some ideas. So I'm trying to do some kind of like super casual something coffee, virtual something name, some really snazzy name to it.
Virtual Java.
Yeah, my husband came up with bonding brew, which sounds really good, but then you get the brew kind of can go another way, so it's not really I want to take it. But yeah, I don't have a prize to whoever comes up with the best name, but I'm taking it.
How long is it about? How is it? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Like a half an hour or something.
Okay.
Yeah, or whatever. Like if you have a lot of problems, we can talk longer.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say remote roast, but then that could go in a whole.
Yeah, that's another. See, there's a lot of good names. But yeah, and we've changed our whole list of services now. We revamped those, so they're all different things. But now I have like full mouth restoration, single tooth, 3-unit bridge. I'm like so proud of all my new little names. It's all about, the excitement of it, right?
Good.
So that's my story.
Does anyone else have any questions what you're finding is that people still have a lot of compliance issues or questions?
I think people have a lot of compliance issues. I think someone said it best, this guy, one of my clients, he's like, you don't know what you don't know. And I see that people think that they know, they've got now the PPE, most of them, they've got, the operatory set up a little bit more of how it should be set up. But they don't have the written plans and protocols. And if the board comes in, they're going to check all that. And like I heard a lecture the other night, oh my God, hold on. I heard a lecture the other night from Vin Dunn, the attorney that kind of does all the board stuff. And he was joking. He's like, if you have an OSHA book and you haven't filled out the pages, if they have all these pages in it that are blank, like take out those pages, you know, like, because so many people have books that they've never filled out, or they have books that they filled out 5 years ago and those people don't even work there anymore. So things that are really important, like emergency kits are really important, written emergency protocols, logbooks, like everything has to be written down. And I don't think that most offices are doing that. I'm not saying most offices are not doing what is required for those things. I just don't think they're keeping track of it. And I get it, because you're so focused on the patients, you're so focused on all these new protocols that you've been, you know, it's been a year, but you're still kind of like, ugh, what's next? Like every day there's something new. So we're trying to just kind of like literally handhold and just do it for you. That's our new strategy, is hold hands.
So do you become that person? Do you become the person that's in charge of the compliance, so that you're the one that's filling out those books?
Yeah. So we'll make the books for you. We'll make them personalized. We'll come in. I mean, we've come in now and do water tests for offices. We'll come in and run your safety meetings. We'll come in and just do all the junk that you don't know that you're supposed to be doing, that you have to be doing. You know, like, because there's so many things that, like, there's office trainings that have to go on within your office every year. Like, you have to review certain things. And if you're not reviewing it, you're not in compliance. Well, no one's doing it. You know, who has time to do that? So we're just trying to, like, literally just be your person so that you don't have to deal with it. That's the plan. Just don't worry about it. But I have noticed, I mean, as I said, I do notice that most offices don't have what they need, and it's not their fault. You know, they're so focused on patient care, and they're doing a great job with that, but it's just all the other junk.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like an awesome thing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, well, in that way, you know, we're kind of that type of a.
I know you guys are.
Because we're doing, you know, we're taking care of the IT for, you don't need to know it. We take care of it. So, and with you, the paperwork part, I mean, they have to know what the protocols are, but you're keeping track of the legalities of it. That's a good thing, yeah.
And we were trying to map out, like, I don't know how much people are paid, but, you know, we were trying to figure out, like, if you had a hygienist or an assistant make these books, the amount of time that it would cost you to have no patients during that time and to pay them to do it, I think is exorbitant. Like, it took me a year to learn everything. Now, if you have the books that I gave you like 3 years ago, they're so different than what is now. Like, it's constantly evolving. So I think to have someone like outside do it is just, I feel like it's so much more cost effective.
Yep.
Just because, like, you don't have time, you can barely even go to the bathroom. You know, you don't have time to do anything. And that's the same thing like you guys are doing. I mean, you just, like, don't worry about your IT.
Yeah, we're keeping on top of it and letting you know all the time. And there's so much, you're right.
Right, there's always, you guys are always sending stuff out about, oh my gosh, this is going on, like, keep an eye out for this. And, like, I think that's fabulous.
Yeah. So I can see that's a great value for people, that you don't have to worry about it. You're going to keep them informed. That's awesome.
Yes, let me worry.
Yeah. Right, that's it. And you're the one taking the courses, just like we're the ones that are taking the courses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we tell them what they need to do. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I mean, most things you're doing anyway. The stuff that I would put into place, a lot of things you're doing. I mean, obviously there are things that, you know, we're going to talk about and change and adjust just to make it maybe more efficient, or do it, you know, sort of my way. But I mean, most people are doing them. You just have to have the documentation.
Yeah. Because saying that you have the book and it's not filled out doesn't help you affect it. I think it gets a mark against you too.
It does. Yeah. If you have that, if anyone can go, like, we're starting to do HIPAA too. So we just made like a HIPAA book, but as a guide, we got the ADA one. It's great. However, you know how many things you have to fill out in that book? You know, if you just buy the book, and like, it's unfortunate, like the ADA, I think they do say it in like fine print, like this needs to be filled out. But like, if you just buy the book or the OSHA book, you're like, I'm set. I don't do anything. And then it's like not having a book. It's like a waste of however much money you just spent, because then you have to fill it out.
It's like the exercise equipment that you have sitting in the living room that you don't use.
Yeah, for use it for like a coat rack or something.
That was what it was at our house, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome, thank you. Any other questions? I mean, we have a small group today, so Joanna, you're really kind of like,
You're on the spot,
focusing
Joanna.
on you.
I think the biggest thing was just the screening, like we talked about.
Yeah.
That was very helpful. We're gonna have to do a reprint on our screening forms come Monday. So, but
you can email me, because I have a pretty good screening form. If you email
Okay.
Jennifer at doc4ne.com and just tell her that we talked, she can send you the screening form. It's a little bit more consolidated.
okay, awesome. And then thank you. And then should I email her also? Because I literally while we're talking, I just texted my dad and said, we really need to get on the binders and talk to
Yeah.
Lisa and like all that. Should I also email her
Yeah,
about
email
that?
her to set that up.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
You were on my list of people that I was thinking that I was missing, because
Yeah.
I was like, I felt like I saw you, like, and then I was like, I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. Yeah, we got to reconnect.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Also, will you share that with the group as well, that form that I could send out in the next email blast?
Oh, I was like, what form?
The screening.
Yes. If you email Jennifer,
I will.
doc4ne.com,
Yeah, and then I can share it too. You know,
she can send you the screening form. Yeah.
oh, she has to keep busy.
Yeah. Oh my God. She does nothing. She has been amazing. And I have 2 employees now. It was just me, and then it was me and Jen, and now we hired someone else.
Was that one of the gentlemen that we saw a picture of on Facebook recently?
That is the gentleman, yes, that we saw a picture of. So there's the 3 of us. Our team is a force to be reckoned with.
Ah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I feel like we're really growing, and now we're trying to, branch out again. Like we're trying to do HIPAA, and we're trying to branch out into, other areas, just to kind of be sort of a one-stop shop and like.
Yeah, and helping people with their needs. You're not making them up. You're finding what they need. You're fulfilling. That's good.
And again, I'm trying, as I was in office I went into yesterday, I'm like, I am your friend. I am not going to yell at you. I am not going to tell you that if you don't do this, I'm going to call OSHA or something. Unless I see you beating a patient, literally, I am not going to tell anyone anything that's going on in your office. So, I'm trying to do it in like the nicest way. I get it that the things you have to do are so overwhelming. It's so daunting, and you do the best that you can for most of the things.
Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else with this? As I said, there's only a few people, but this is being recorded. So when Lexi gets back from Aruba, she'll, she's going to be quarantined next week because she's at a destination wedding. And then the following Monday, everybody has been past their COVID.
That's so exciting. Are you going to videotape your unmasking ceremony?
Yep. I've got it all planned with Lexi. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting for that. We really want to be able to do that and see each other smile.
I know. I'm finding it too. I'm so sarcastic, and I'm finding it really hard. Like, I'm really hoping people don't think I'm insulting them because they can't see my face. There's only so much you can see with your eyes, and I'm really hoping I didn't turn a lot of people off during COVID.
That and the same thing with the emails. You can't hear tone of voice. So if you're being, facetious and it looks like you're really mean it's hard. So, yeah.
Yeah, I try to be really serious in emails because I've been down that road.
Well, I wanted to just share. I am going to be leaving choosing.
Oh.
I am leaving at the end of the month, end of May. I'm going on to something else. But I don't know if it's a possibility, to, as a former office manager, to continue joining you all in the future.
Sure.
But if not, it's just been such a great experience in meeting all of the members in the group for the last, what's going on, maybe 3.5 years now, I think, that I've been coming to the meetings.
Yeah.
But it's just been such a great opportunity to meet everyone and to learn something new. And I think if it's allowed, I will continue joining, because there's, you're always learning something new and someone's perspective and objective on things that are going on in the dental practice. So if that's allowed, I'll continue coming.
Have anything to do with a medical or dental practice in your new job?
Yes, it's a dental insurance.
Oh, okay. Well, that's,
Yeah.
you could be a real source of information for us.
Yeah, so it'll be dental insurance. It's a company out of Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
So it's I'll be working remotely, fully remotely. And so that was part of the plan. I'm not able to move on from my position or grow in the position that I am at Choosy, although I love Choosy and everyone there. I've made some great friends and the team is exceptional. So the deciding factor was being able to grow in the position, move on to something else, and also to be able to travel in the future to different locations and to work remotely. So those are like the 3 factors. It took me about 1.5 months to make a decision, but I had to do it because my daughter lives out of state. So I needed to be able to come and go if I needed to and not be restricted. So
Exciting, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you're able to tell us more about it, certainly let me know so I can let people know too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll check with the new company to see if it's something that I'm allowed to, join you with them in mind and discuss them, or I would just do it on my own, obviously, as just a member, as just me.
Oh, good. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, I think that we'll call it the meeting, and thank you all for coming. And we thank you, Dr. Kane. Lisa, you gave us such good information.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun. I miss these.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see you live in real person. Yeah, in September. So
I'm so excited.
Who could have seen this at all coming? Oh my goodness.
I know, it's kind of crazy. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a great weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
See you soon.
You too. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Weekend.
Bye.
Bye.